it is effortless to overlook red flags because we often think, and then our minds manage to rationalize it or talk our way out of what we're feeling because we don't have the physical proof, just a feeling, a gut instinct. Looking back, many survivors of narcissistic abuse say the signs were there all along. They just had no clue as to what they meant. There's lots of overlooked red flags that we often sense but don't fully understand at the time. There's far too much intensity far too soon. The relationship is rushed with love, false promises, pressure to commit quickly. It feels flattering, but it also feels good to be around them because they're treating you so well. So why wouldn't you want to spend time around them? However, with a narcissist, it's all about control. There's the criticism disguised as jokes, whether they're criticising others or criticising you. Their teasing comments make you feel small if they're towards you, or they might tease others that just make you feel uncomfortable. You often laugh it off with them, but deep down, it doesn't feel right. It stings. You can end up walking on eggshells around them. You adjust your words and your actions to avoid setting them off, even though they never admitted to being unreasonable. And the silent treatments, which is usually a bit further along, they suddenly go cold, they ignore you, or they vanish. However, these red flags can be there sooner because they've vanished on children, even though they say that the other person won't allow them to see their children. They've vanished on parents, they've vanished on friends. They don't want you to talk to that friend of theirs because that friend of theirs borrowed money and never paid them back. And now we can all have people like that within our lives that we need to distance ourselves from, which is why it's about taking things slow and getting to know people for who they are and not who they sell themselves to be. When they ignore you, it feels like a punishment. However, you often excuse it as that's who they are. They just need some space. They frame jealousy as love. They claim it's just because they care. They want to know where you are because they care. They want to message you constantly because they care. They want to know exactly what you're doing because they care. When you are out with friends, they want to be calling and messaging you, and they want a response immediately because they care. They're worried about you. However, it's possessiveness that slowly isolates you from your independence. They shift stories. They say one thing, they do another. You feel confused and doubt yourself instead of questioning them. They tell stories that just don't seem quite right, and you're too afraid to challenge them. But if you do challenge them, they come out with a load of nonsense that you can't quite understand, and it's easier to sort of drop the conversation than to pursue it. And your gut feels uneasy, but you often ignore it. The quiet voice telling you something is wrong is your intuition trying to warn you, but because you can't see any evidence, you end up ignoring it. Red flags often don't look like red flags until hindsight. The truth is, we often know that something is wrong, we just don't know how to name it. Next time, it's about trusting that inner voice because it's rarely wrong.